Marvia, can we start?
Yes, it is time now. Let us get started.
Namaste and very good morning to all of you. We are here for 9th International Conference on Human Values in Higher Education, ICHVE 2024. We are on the third day and the theme of the conference is Value-Based Education for Humane Society. We are in the panel on Holistic Value-Based Education, and for the same, now I would like to request Dr. Jagdish Babu Belamji for presenting a UHV point of view. We all have heard Rajul Asthana sir in the morning session for his keynote address on the implementation of values. And with that, Jagdish Babuji will help us see it one more time. Dr. Jagdish Babu Belamji is Assistant Professor in Department of Physics, Madanpalli Institute of Technology and Science in Andhra Pradesh. And he has been volunteering in UHV since last 3 years and is also a UHV cell coordinator at institute level. I welcome you and all panelists. Over to you, Jagdish Babuji.
Thank you, Mrs. Nidhi, for welcoming me. Introducing me. So I welcome all the panelists and delegates, participants, YouTube viewers for this panel discussion. We'll be taking our discussion on implementation of holistic value-based education today. So last 2 days in the conference, in the panel discussion, we are discussing on the need of value-based education and vision for value-based education. Most of the panelists has supported and also able to see that values holds highest priority over skills, which will ensure human society, human consciousness in every child, that is right understanding and able to live with the feeling of relationship and also able to identify physical facilities that is required and ensure the feeling of prosperity. If we want to take up this value education, then the basic guidelines for value education are universal. This content is universal, applicable to all, rational, verifiable, and leading to harmony. And it's a holistic approach. So in yesterday's panel discussion, we had discussion on vision part. So vision for this value-based education. At individual level, the vision is to transform every individual to human consciousness. And at society level, the transformation to human society working for human goals. And the outcome in terms of program outcome of these courses as given as common graduate attributes, 6 of them, as we have seen in the keynote lecture: holistic vision of life, socially responsible behavior, environmentally responsible work, ethical human conduct, health and hygiene, and respect and excellence. So today in this panel discussion, we will be discussing on the implementation part. Let me throw some light at individual level. What will be the program of action to understand harmony and live in harmony at all the levels of human being? That will be program. As an individual, I want to live happily, and also I am a member of the family, so I have to understand harmony. Every human being has to understand harmony at the family level, so it will improve interrelationships. And in the society I am a member, so I have to understand harmony, live in harmony in society. So this education should have at the individual level, it is helping to see the harmony at all the levels and live in the harmony at all the levels. So for this, there are three steps to be followed. Self-exploration is the first, where I will be verifying proposals, or each individual will be verifying the proposals on own right. So asking himself, asking the natural acceptance, and based on intention. So he will be trying to understand the harmony and will ensure the right feeling, right thought, and also express this in harmonious behavior, work with rest of nature, and participation in larger order. The next step will be self-awareness. Every individual has to aware of his own desires, thoughts, expectation at every moment, and also evaluating them on the basis of natural acceptance. This natural acceptance, which is innate faculty, is guiding the transformation that what I am today. So this is the program of action at the individual level. If we see the program action at the level of society, the People's Education Program for Adults, which has been started by the sharings of institutes, individuals, we can listen in the conference that people are developing the right understanding, right feeling, and this education has taken to parents, teachers, and also policymakers. So in the yesterday we have listened that ACT higher officials also went through this course. So the next step will be education sanskar program for children. So where we are trying to introduce these courses in academic curriculum as accredited courses or electives, and also socially relevant projects are taken up by the students, which will also improve this value education and to implement this value education and providing the conducive environment to learn this value education. So with this, people will be living with right understanding, right feelings, the definite human conduct, and also participate in universal human order. The next program at the society will be Humane Society program, taking to all the uh, corners of the society. So to ensure to work for these comprehensive human goals to achieve humane society. So we'll take the family as one unit, family cluster, village cluster, nation, and complete world family. If we work on this people education program, if one human being, one individual takes time to transform in 10 years and hand holding the other 10 in these 10 years, like that each individual hand holding the other 10 in 100 years, we can reach to 1,000 crore, and our world population is around 800 crores. So it is achievable, it is doable. And when we take this education, these programs, value education into the education curriculum, then this can be achieved from 50 to 75 years. Then if we take to the society, it can be reached in 25 to 50 years. So the steps in the transformation of education, we already saw from the panel discussions and from the keynote lectures and individual and institutions sharing that this program is already introduced in the education. So, and the research and this value-based research also in the next point, and extension activities, taking these courses to nearby schools, jails, all these things. And the next step would be value-based education. So we are in different courses, different subjects. Like if you say mathematics in the childhood, so we teach subtraction. So 10 minus 5. So we say 10 mangoes were there, 5 was stolen by someone. How much you have? We can introduce that 10 mangoes were there and you have shared 5 mangoes with the other, how much is left? Now this value-based education, which will lead to harmonious living, can be introduced. And then the next step will be value-based living, living in harmony. So we are at the first step. So the next, if you see, if you yesterday we have listened to Professor Rajiv Kumar, member secretary from AICT, talking about the programs implemented, promoted by AICT for value education. One of the program is student induction program, where 3 credit course is implemented 3 weeks induction program is started, where this 22 hours of UHV1 is shared to the students in initial part of their course. And there is faculty induction programs. We have seen various FDPs that is there in this program in our today's keynote lecture by Sri Rajul Asthanaji. And also we have this full semester UHV2 course, which is a credit course in many universities. And a minor degree also is there. We have seen various bunch of UHV courses under minor degree. And FDPs, LDPs for faculty and management and leaderships, higher officials. So in addition to that, AICT also nominating institutes for as nodal centers of UHV across the country. And now UGC also um, took this, and they have taken this initiation to introduce this for faculty as faculty induction program Guru Dakshata, and student induction program Diksharam, and also this course as Mulya Prava 2.0, and also life skills, even Kaushal. There are training centers for UGC where this they have requested for conducting faculty development programs on UHV. And this content also been translated into 9 official Indian languages. So there are UHV materials, books, or teacher manuals available as the links are provided in the panel discussion, we can see. So there is textbook for UHV2 course and the teacher's manual, and UHV3 course and health book is there. And in Madhya Pradesh, these books are uh, introduced as Anand Sabha for 9th to 10th class students. This course has been taken to the schools, and they have developed these workbooks, all these, and 385 schools are identified. Workshops being conducted for teachers and principals of the schools. Also, these workshops has been conducted is in jails of Kanpur, Ghaziabad. There is encouraging results in terms of transformation of these in jailmates. So to sum up the implementation of holistic value-based education, what we are looking for is at the individual level, there are 3 steps: self-exploration, self-awareness, and self-evaluation. So it should be a continuous process. At the societal level, there is program for people's education, for adults, for students, and also for society. And this is implemented in 3 steps. First as value education, then value-based living. Then many regulatory bodies also promoting value education, as we can see from the keynote lecture also. And the UHV classes has been extended as extension activities, as many panelists in the first day discussed about taking this into the project extension activities into schools, jails. This is also started on. With this, I would like to invite Dr. Kumar Sambhav to moderate this session and take us forward. And I privileged to introduce him. He is an associate professor, UP Institute of Design, Noida, and he obtained his PhD, MTech PhD, Mechanical Engineering, IIT Kanpur. He's been volunteering for UHV, Universal Human Values, from last 23 years on pro bono basis. Dr. Kumar Sambhav, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Jagdish. Nicely presented the UHV point of view. So we have been listening to the keynote lectures, and this was a recap of the content that has been shared through the keynote lectures. And now we can see how the implementation has been taking place. In the earlier panel discussions, we talked about the need for holistic value-based education. Then we talked about the vision for holistic value-based education. And now we are going to talk about the implementation part. So we have a rich panel here. Let me introduce the panelists one by one. So we have Dr. Mahesh Ranade. He is a visiting professor in various management colleges in Navi Mumbai, India. He has degrees of PhD in management from Paher University, Udaipur. He has been former CEO or CXO in education and social and corporate sectors. He's a certified corporate director and advisor and also a writer and speaker. Welcome, Dr. Mahesh. Dr. Mahesh, you can turn your
Thank you.
video on. Next, we have Dr. R. Sujata. She is the principal and also an associate professor at Subba Lakshmi Pati College of Science, Madurai, in Tamil Nadu. She has been a former Dean of Student Affairs and a Vice Principal as well as Deputy Director. And she is also a volunteer for human values activities. Welcome, Dr. Sujata. Next, we have Dr. Rajesh Tiwari. He is a professor and academic coordinator in the Department of Management Studies at Graphicera, deemed to be university in Dehradun, India. He also has multiple patents and published research papers, and is also a volunteer for Universal Human Values programs in his university. Welcome, Dr. Rajesh. Next, we have Professor Neem Kumar Jain. He is the chairman of Institute of Humanism, All India Association of History and Science. He is the president of All India Intellectual Forum at Delhi University, and he is also a member of Mathematics Teacher Association. He has authored multiple books and published research papers. He's also a contributor to Kothari Education Committee that was formed in 1965 and also taken part in revision of Indian Constitution. Welcome, Professor Jain. Next, we have Dr. Shubha Banerjee. She is an assistant professor and scientist in the Department of Plant Molecular Biology and Biotechnology at the College of Agriculture, IGKV, in Raipur, India. She has a degree of PhD in biotechnology and MSc Agriculture, again from biotechnology. She has awards regarding research on hybrid rice. She is a resource person for Human Values and Ethics course in IGKV and also published a practical manual for the course on Human Values and Personality Development. Welcome, Dr. Shubha.
Namaste, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Next, we have Professor Binoy Kumar Chaudhary. Hope, nice, sir, that you are connected. I hope you are able to hear me. Probably you are having some problem earlier.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I am able to hear you.
You can turn your video on. I request all the panelists to turn their videos on. So, Professor Binoy.
Yeah, I am
Professor.
able to hear you, but I do not know why my video is not getting on.
Yeah,
I
your
am
video is on
clicking-
now. Probably you are connected
Okay,
to
okay.
mobile. If you could keep the mobile in landscape mode, that will show you better. Is it in?
But I am now connected through my laptop,
Okay.
but why the video is not getting on, I don't know. Good morning.
It is
Namaskar
on. It is
to
on. I
everyone.
can see very much.
Okay, thank you.
Fine, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
So he's a professor in energy management in the PSM department, IIS WBM Management House, Kolkata. He also is a vice president at AEE, Asia Subcontinent Accredited Energy Auditor. Also in BE as a part of Government of India. He has done his PhD from IIT and a fellow of AEE, AEI, IEI, and IWWA. He's also a trainer for solar thermal programs at the national level. Yeah, next we have Dr. Ila Manoj Didia. She is director at Anveshanam Foundation, India, and she has PhD in textiles and clothing. She has teaching experience of many years, and she is in charge principal, also IQAC coordinator, has been guiding PhD students and has been HOD at Nirmala Niketan, affiliated to the University of Mumbai, and also volunteering for UHV activities for the past 4 years. Welcome, Dr. Ila. And then we have Dr. Vilas Barudkar. He is an associate professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology, Bhopal. He has the degree of PhD in Mechanical Engineering and volunteering for UHV activities for the past 7 years. So nice to see so many panelists on the panel. So let me say that I will be asking certain questions to each of the panelists. The questions may be same or different also, and we'll have a timer also set because we have 8 panelists here and the time is limited. So we'll be giving a time of 3 minutes to respond to the questions. And we are going to share certain things or discuss certain things related to the implementation of value-based courses and implementation of value-based programs. So let me come to Dr. Mahesh. Dr. Mahesh, how do you see the role of faculty and management for effective implementation of value-based education?
Yeah,
I
thank you.
wish all our panelists have their videos on. Yeah, Dr. Mahesh.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kumar, for having me here. Your question is very relevant. In fact, what we see around us is that there are a lot of programs, certifications, a lot of content on value education, uh, but yet we do not notice a substantial change in the value systems or the values that people demonstrate. To my mind, the reason is that values, are inculcated best in the early childhood of a person. At that point of time, children learn by observation. They imbibe values that they see their parents exhibiting, and then their teachers. So I think the most important part in implementation of value education is how parents, elders at home, and the teachers in school and colleges, how do they conduct themselves? What are the values that they demonstrate through their very conduct? To that extent, I believe that we need to do a lot on educating and sensitizing parents as to what behaviors they demonstrate in front of their children. And second, as far as teachers are concerned, running courses, programs, certifications, diplomas, while of some value, but is not going to cut it. At the end of the day, every teacher, regardless of what subject that teacher is teaching, have to demonstrate these behaviors in everything that they say and do in front of the students. And not only in front of the students, but even in general in their lives. Values are best learned through imbibing, through observation. And I think that's where we need to lay a lot of stress on uh, educating and sensitizing parents and teachers to be extremely observant of their own behaviors. And they must do everything and they must say everything uh, and implement it in their own lives. And once the young generation observes this in their parents and in their teachers, the next generation will certainly be far more responsible and would demonstrate the right values. So, to my mind, the change begins at home. I think one thing more that I would like to suggest is the change in oneself only comes about, or chiefly comes about, through introspection and through training oneself. And I do recommend very strongly meditation as a practice from early childhood for everyone. Meditation is non-sectarian. It doesn't have to do anything with any particular religion, but meditation always brings about positive changes in one's behavior and one's values. So I think those are the key points that I would like to make.
Nice, Dr. Mahesh. So Dr. Mahesh is strongly of the opinion that basically the teachers and the parents have to implement in their own lives first, and they have to be the role models for the children. And
Absolutely.
he has suggested introspection, meditation. Meditation is certainly non-sectorial, and this can be practiced by all individuals. Very nice, Dr. Mahesh. Now let me come to Dr. R. Sujata. Dr. Sujata, what would be your take on this? How do you see the role of faculty and management for effective implementation of value-based programs?
Yes, sir. So actually, when I have undergone this UHV program, which is organized by the AICTE, I was totally impressed on the program and I thought of inculcating the same to the students. And I started also in the title of Student Induction Program. Through the Student Induction Program, I started inculcating this UHV in the model, like presenting the details, not only the things what is happening in and around the world, and how the student has to be in their life. In such a way, I have taken the topic as relationship. And through this topic, I have went into their mind and I thought of giving the respect towards from the parents to the teachers and to anyone in the world whom they are meeting in their life. So in such a way, I made it implementing the parts to the students through the student induction program. And it is successfully running around 4 years. I have completed this student induction program UHV part to the student, to all the students who are all joined in the SIP, that is student induction program. So I'm implementing in the form like presenting the videos, and through the video, what is the moral we can inform to the students, and we can educate the students in such a way. I'm doing it, and at the same time, I'm giving activities also. Through the activities, I'm telling the stories, as well as through that activities, they can learn what they are missing it, and they can fill that gap also. Ultimately, my aim is to impart the relationship is going to be live with us forever. So that is the point I'm actually trying to inculcate among the students. That is successfully running, but I'm doing it only for the college which what I'm associated. If it is going to get exaggerated in future, I'm full-fledgedly trying to involve in this. I can try to impart the same to all the students whoever I am meeting in the life. So if the chance is there, I'll be doing it. But anyhow, I'm going to do this till my end of my life. So because which is very much impressed, I'm actually doing it with complete satisfaction, and I'm allowed to do it. I will do it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sujata. I can see your commitment, and you suggested for SIP, effective implementation of SIP, showing videos, having activities with the students. In the meantime, a poll has been shared for all the delegates to share their reflection upon the question that we are discussing with the panelists. Nice. Now let me come to Dr. Ila. Dr. Ila, you have been conducting faculty development programs, isn't it? And also student development programs. So what is your take on this? How do you see that the faculty and management have to be developed to make this program effective? What is your take on this?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kumar, and wishing all the panelists also. My take on this is that the management and the faculty first need to go through the process, the program, because still we are not experiencing the whole thing. It is very difficult to pass it on to the students. That is the first thing. Second is it cannot be treated like any other subject, that the content is just sent to the students. This content is such that we need to understand through our own self-exploration. So the process of self-exploration has to be initiated in every student. And if it is already there, it has to be strengthened in ourselves and the students. So I think that the basic understanding of the basic aspiration, what is the basic purpose of us as human being, that needs to be understood. So with that right understanding, we will be able to have the right feelings within us. We will also be able to be in harmony with nature, society, family, and so on. So this entire process has to be supported by the management and by the faculty. The right environment has to be created, the right content has to be there, and the content delivery, the process is very important. So getting more faculty trained for it so that they are able to do it in the right way. I think the role of management is very crucial in that. And there are managements, there are institutions that we've seen during the sharing sessions in the last 2 days. We have seen so many institutions where the top management, the decision makers, the policy makers have taken this as their main way of education. They have put this as they've integrated value education in the curriculum. So they're having a 3-credit course. Later on, as the years advance, they also have choice-based subjects, and they're able to motivate the students to take it. So the role of management and faculty both is very, very crucial. And also one more thing that I have seen is with these institutions, they have created that environment where they're having periodic discussions with the students, that rapport, that relationship, not only within the institute, but even outside in the society. So doing projects and all is important, but first, the right understanding within each one of us, the right thinking, so that we channelize all our activities and all in that direction. So I think the role of management and the faculty is very, very important. So you may have faculty who may not have gone through this process. So it is our responsibility to bring everyone under that same umbrella so that the right environment is there in the institution. Thank you very much. I'll definitely address more points later on.
Nice, Dr. Ila. So you are completely of the opinion that the management and the faculty have to be developed And they also have to go through this process of self-exploration so that the students also
Yes.
can be enabled to have this process
In
internalized.
fact, yesterday we had some sharing also, where some of the directors have and the vice chancellors have said that initially we were doubting, but when we went through it and we have our journey is now we are convinced. So yeah, it is very important to have a self journey in this.
Nice, Dr. Ila. Now let me come to Dr. Rajesh Tiwari. You are academic coordinator at Graphic Era, and being academic coordinator, you must have seen what role does the development of faculty and management play in effective implementation of this kind of course. And generally, when we come to the faculty, they say that we are all good persons. Why don't you talk to the management? We are suffering because of them. When you talk to the management, then they say that talk to the chairpersons, talk to the leaders of the society because we are suffering on account of them. So how do you see the role of development at each level, faculty, management, leaders? What would be your opinion about this, Dr. Rajesh?
Jai Hind, Namaskar. Thank you, Dr. Kumar. You have raised a very valid point regarding the
your face
role of
is
faculty.
partly not visible. Maybe you can lift your camera a bit, and your voice is also not audible. Not very properly audible. Yeah.
Is it audible now?
Yeah, audible now.
Okay, so the point that you have raised is very valid, and I agree with the earlier panelists, Dr. Mahesh and Dr. Ila, that in my own journey as an academic auditor and faculty, I have observed that delivering a 3-credit course on human values will not achieve the desired.
Can you be a bit louder? Maybe you are using earphone. If you can speak without earphone, that would be better. You have to come a little closer to the laptop.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Now much better. Yes.
Okay. So you see, the point which has been raised earlier by Dr. Mahesh and Dr. Ila, that it has to be learning by observation. What we are currently doing is that actually it is the initial phase of the UHV, that there is a 3-credit course and there is a SIP. It is good to start with such initiatives, but in my own journey, I've observed that the students are learning more by observation at the parent level, at the school level, at the college level. So once we do the conduct in terms of the faculty, in terms of the management, so that will be more effective. So rather going for a kind of just a minute. Yeah, the poll has come. So instead of going for a transaction-based approach, we deliver a 3-credit course and an SIP, they get a certification. We have to move towards the transformation and ecosystem-based approach. Right from the topmost person of the institution, and then the lowest person in the hierarchy, and the faculties. So everybody is having their values being delivered through their conduct. So that is how students they learn and they implement in their own lifestyle. So I would like to just quote the example of one of the UHV session I was attending. The workshop was by the AICT sponsored FDP. The keynote speaker and the organizers, they were sparing some valuable time in the initial beginning of the session to rearrange the shoes properly outside the venue. You see, the kind of conduct they were demonstrating is much more impactful than the speech that they have delivered. So the conduct is that the values have to be demonstrated by their action. So I will never forget such initiatives that was taken by those keynote speakers, that it has to be in our own conduct. Secondly, when there was a tea break and such initiatives are a part of the routine conferences, these people were the last to come to the that counter. So the first priority was that they are part of the value system, so they are giving the chance to the all others participants to have their food, and then they will come last. So one more point I would raise quickly is that the faculty, what faculty can do. In my own journey as an academic monitor, as a faculty, I have taken the innovative approach of inculcating values into the evaluation, because students take evaluation very seriously, because marks are a very important part of their life. So the internal marks are in the control of the faculty. So we have a midterm, end term, and also many
we'll come to that, sir. We'll come to that.
Yeah.
There's some limitation of time here.
Sure, sure. We'll discuss that point later. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. I can see that two delegates have raised their hands. I'll come to you also toward the end of the session. If you can write your questions in the Q&A box, we can take your question very simply. Dr. Senthil and Dr. Shashi Binani, please write your question in the Q&A box. Now, let me come to Professor Neem Kumar Jain. He has been long associated with courses on inculcating ethics and values in the society. And I would like to hear from you your views for effective implementation of any such programs which adds value to the society through education. Professor Jain.
Firstly, I will like to thank the organizers and the panelists and the participants sitting here or anywhere for this nice international conference. Now, the word universal is very attractive, but the universe, how it is started, how the humanism came, how the man came, and how the knowledge system came. So our own Indian system, which is more exactly saying Bharatiya system, is a age old, and from our Bharat, the knowledge sprang to all over the world. So basically, when we say universal, whatever in the name of universal we say, exactly speaking, it is Bharatiya. Later on, some people call it Indian. The name Bharatiya is better than the Indian. Now the various books, literature, courses, short-term and add-on courses have been created. It's just a beginning. In 1980, two of my books were published. One is this, Science and Scientists in India. The other is History of Science and Scientific Method. Why I'm saying like that is that this in 1980, by 1980, people used to say, at least every Indian used to say, that most of the science and values are in our scriptures. But there was no exact education regarding information of that. So these my books were published in 1980, and several lakhs of each copies have been sold. And latest, these have been prescribed in the various universities around the globe. Recently, in Madhya Pradesh, under the government scheme of Indian knowledge system, has selected 90 books around the globe, and both of my books are there, and the various libraries, etc., are giving the orders to this. So how to implement the value education is very important, because thought process has to go to the public and its welfare ultimately. We are concentrating very well on institutions, but I will come just a minute later. This needs to be implemented in the society at a larger level also. Under the guidance of Kumar Sambhav, the various courses are being run, short-term courses. Now the real result would be there when, instead of the add-on courses and qualifying courses, it will come into exact elective courses. So we should move ahead so that these things come into the elective courses at the university with the weightage to that. And besides that, I will like to request the organizers, because you are having a leading role. Apart from your team, there are some other attempts of which you may not be aware of.
We come to that, sir. There is some limitation of time. Yes, and
just
nice
one,
to see that you are staying at
1 minute. Can I take 1 minute more?
Maybe we can talk later about this, because we are talking about the effective implementation part presently. Yes. In the meantime, we had shared one poll also for our delegates. Kindly share your views on experience with the implementation of HVBE. And I can see that 73% of the delegates have said that it has been awesome. Quite good to see. I'm sharing the poll here. So that's very nice to see. Now let me come to Dr. Shubha. Dr. Shubha, you are also a resource person at your institution, and you have a PhD in biotechnology. So kindly share your views on effective implementation on holistic value-based education. So the way you have experimented in your institution, the setbacks that you had, the challenges that you had to face, right? And how you could try to overcome. So what are takeaways from your experience here? Can you share them?
Sure, sure. I So we have this course running since 2013, and it was a credit course. It is still a credit course, but now with the changing policies in National Education Policy 2020, they are not taking. First point of feedback will be like, we should do something so that it is there in the national education policy, and it is compulsory for all the colleges who are running the undergraduate courses. And mostly agriculture and other allied biological sciences subjects are left out. It's there in the engineering stream. Somewhere it's also there in medical stream, but the other streams are also, so it should be for all. We can do something on that, contacting books in Hindi are required, which are easy to read, comprehend, and some activity-based things if they are there, group activity, experimental activity, their own thought experiment, something like that. Because this generation learn on by their own mostly. They rarely go to the teacher and discuss until and unless it is very necessary. Then on larger perspective, I feel holistic education is a complementary thing, or human value is a complementary thing to the present knowledge. It is sometimes it is presented as a contradictory thing by some people or somewhere. So it is creating an issue, because when we ask them to switch from technology to to XYZ thing, and we ask them to cut down to something. So if we present it in a way where it is seen as a complementary thing to the existing courses, so an unbiased evaluation of current subject and subject matter is required, and then where the humane mentality can add up to this. As I see it, for agriculture, adding a human mentality, that perspective changes everything. My students become more confident. They are from the remotest area of Jagdalpur, Bastar. So they also learn to express themselves in any of the language. They learn that it is important to express. So aligning them with the current subject and subject matter is important. That's it, sir.
Very nice, Dr. Shubha. So you are saying aligning the present courses to the value-based courses and also
Yes.
complementing other courses, isn't it?
Yes.
So that people are ready to welcome it. Very nice. Now let me come to Professor Binoy. I'm not really aware whether in your institution any course on human values is running or not. So could you just share your views on how this course can be run effectively in any institution, and what would be the role of faculty and management in making this course effective? Professor Binoy, you are muted.
Okay, namaskar. So yes, definitely I would like to share our views. You are right, sir, that we have started energy. I am part of public systems management in IISWBM, which is the oldest management education institute in our country. And we have since 1993 this public systems management program started at the behest of the government of India. And we have that in that course, as a part of the course audit. No, it is a credit course, that we have a management skills and ethos, and there we try to impart the students in the some of the value education elements, like that business communication, effective communication skill, and then business writing skill, along with that legal aspects and business values, overview of social responsibility of business, then corporate culture, ethical perspectives, Indian ethos, styles of management and values, Indian heritage in production and consumption, then personal growth and lessons from ancient India educational system, corporate values and managerial stress, Then we also try to inculcate in them some transcultural human values, relevance for management in the context of globalization, values based on decision making, personal values in workplace. That is very important nowadays also, how to act when values collide, and the item on value based decision making also. So these are the focus area in our educational system, but I must agree with all the panelists when you say that it is more like practice than teaching, but only in classroom. It is not at all limited, should not be limited to classroom, and it must be practiced then only. From our school days also, I can remember, I still remember that teacher. I do not know his educational qualification, but still his teachings, his lifestyle, very simple lifestyle, that still I in the memory. So that is the thing. We know that teachers play the very most important role, I would say. Professor Abdul Kalam, I remember he also repeatedly mentioned that the role that teacher, immense power that teacher has, and that is the human, I mean, particularly for Indian tradition, Gurukul system, we have seen the significant role the teacher plays. In fact, the teacher, we have a role as father also, as a teacher, as friend also. So there is a, as you, the rightly motto is that, and I would say that this I am totally fascinated, and that is in line with my our thought here, that it has to be a value-based education should be the at the center point, as because we see that the kind of tension, and we see the international stress, all are because of lack of value. As we know that as we have achieved this life, human birth, maybe through millions of lives of struggle, so we must
Yeah, there's some limitation
attain.
of time,
Yeah.
Professor Binoy.
Yeah,
I
so
got
I
your
would
point.
like to conclude that we should try to see that taking cue of the speakers, that how we can make it more interesting, more lively, and more user friendly in all respect. That is not only in the classroom but in all walks of life. And I would like to mention two organizations as well, that Ramakrishna Mission and also the Akhil Bharat Vivekananda Yuva Mahamandal. They are trying in the same line, and part of the educational system, that whatever is was missing in the formal education in some of the areas, so the character building is given more emphasis. I think we can work together, and we can make a lot in the make an example, set an example that India has always been played to in the
Nice, Professor Binoy. So I think maybe after the conference, we can discuss also how it can be implemented in your institution also. You have been making sincere effort for a long time, from the 90s, I can see. Very nice. Now we have Dr. Vilas Varudkar here from MANIT Bhopal. So Dr. Vilas, uh, Dr. Vilas, can I see you? Your video is off. Okay, maybe there is some connection problem here. So let me come to Dr. Mahesh Ranade again. So Dr. Mahesh, according to you, what are the hurdles or difficulties in ensuring value station according to you? And could you suggest some measures how they can be overcome? Dr. Mahesh.
Typically the values and the culture, the value system, any organization, whether it is a college, it is a university, or it is society at large, it actually flows from the top. So one of the biggest challenges is that we say something else and we do something different. And I think, therefore, there is immense responsibility on the shoulders of the management. So if it is a university or if it is a college, then the owners and then the topmost managers of the institution, whether they walk the talk, uh, is what is ultimately going to determine the success of the imparting of well education. Now, typically, what happens is that in most of the cases that we see is that while the management say a lot of things, in support of propagating values, but their own decisions, their own approach, at times even their own behaviors are contraindicative. And then people, of course, say that they say something else, but they do something entirely opposite. So I think the challenge really is how do we walk the talk, and that's what it starts from the top and it goes right to the bottom. And that's what I said, that a child first observes in the first 3 years of his or her life before the child goes to the school. It observes its parents as to what are the behaviors of the parents, what are the values of the parents. When the child goes to school, the child learns from the behaviors of the teachers. To my mind, the effective implementation requires that each one of us, especially the parents and the teachers and the managements of the schools and colleges, we walk the talk. What are the universal human values that we are talking about? Universal human values are love, compassion, kindness, respect for each other, honesty, discipline, love for environment. Now, if everything that we say and do demonstrates these values, we won't need any special content. We won't need any programs. We won't need any 3 credits or 6 credit courses. We won't need any certification. If each one of us can bring about this change in ourselves, the battle is more than half won. I think that is where the challenge is, and that is also where the answer is.
Okay. But the issue is how to bring about that change in every human being. For that only we have to go for education.
No, sir. As I said in the beginning, education is one part. But suppose if I tell a student, for example, I have been teaching in colleges, for example. Now, if we teach the student to be punctual, but if the teacher himself reaches the classroom late every day, do you think that student is going to become punctual just because the teacher is telling him, or the student will become punctual if the teacher reaches the classroom 10 minutes before?
Yeah.
The rest happens automatically.
So this has to be done in addition. In addition to running the courses, the conduct has to be ensured.
Yeah, and I think, sir, one thing which I which I proposed in my earlier intervention was meditation as a practice. All over the world, universally, it has been established that if a person meditates, it has a huge positive influence on the person's behavior and values. So I think how to implement, if somehow we can bring about, like, for example, after in the last 10 years, International Yoga Day, and there are a lot of awareness happening around.
Nice, sir. That point is well taken. Yeah, that
Absolutely.
point is well
So if
taken.
each one of us meditates for 15 minutes and we do that from childhood, I think the world will be a better place.
Nice, very nice. That point is well taken.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Vilas is here. Dr. Vilas, you are trying to implement this course at MANIT Bhopal, and you have been making sincere effort for quite some time. So can you share from your side the hurdles or difficulties that you are able to see in implementing and how they can be overcome? In the meantime, let me say that we have shared one poll saying that there will always be hurdles or difficulties in ensuring value-based education. And there is a mixed opinion here. Many strongly disagree, many disagree, some strongly agree also. So I think there's a mixed response here. Nice. Yeah, Dr. Vilas.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Am I audible clearly?
Yeah, you're audible. Maybe you can raise your voice. Your voice is not so audible. You can even remove your earphone if you want. Be direct.
Very good morning now. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
I will better raise a bit as well. So talking about the implementation part at my institute. So certainly, initially when I was introduced to this concept in 2017, and
if you remove the earphone, that would be much better.
Is it okay now?
No, since the earphone is on, so the voice will not be so audible.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Okay, still the same. Anyway, please proceed. Yeah.
Sir, so what I can see when I was introduced with this concept in 2017, and I found myself very beneficial, this concept for myself initially. And when I found that it is really beneficial for me, and certainly it will be beneficial for others as well. And I tried to introduce with my fellow colleagues and students as well in some parts. And what I can see that I can see the changes in students and faculty with whom I am interacting as well. And further, I tried to recently we tried a leadership development program for all deans and HODs, and they too found it really very much beneficial, they can see the problems initially in all the institutes, all the students, faculty as well, and how we can implement it. Certainly they see that in technical college and at NIT, certainly it is very much load of all credits courses as well. And but they found that if they implement this course as a credit course, certainly the one of the course has to be dropped. But they found that anyhow, if it can be the other electives and as an additional course, if they can take it, they will be this course will be beneficial to them as well. So I think our director and deans and HODs are certainly in favor of this. And this part of implementation part, they are looking for various scopes to get it in place.
Nice, Dr. Vilas. So you also see that the top management, if the top management gets assured, feels confident about the course, then they can easily take it up. And when it comes to giving credits in the board of studies, then we can draw a priority, and then we can see which courses have to be given higher priority, and certain courses which are transformational for the lives of the students need to be given priority. That is very nice to see. Let me come to Dr. Sujata. So Dr. Sujata, what is your take on this? Maybe you also might have faced some hurdles or difficulties while implementing in your institution, and how could you overcome? Can you share your views on this?
Yes, sir. Actually, when I have undergone this course, at that time I was totally actually stressed when I was working in the institution, because so much pressure I have faced. That's why I thought of attending this UHV program, which was organized by the AICT. And I got the clearance in that program only. After that only, I thought of implementing same in the institution. And I started teaching to the students and started educating the students in such a way that if you are in the stressed manner, what is the thing you have to approach to the other people is you have to find out the positives on the other side. You should not take the things on the negative. You may have positive as well as negative, but you have to check only the positive on the other side. Once if you are triggering that positive to that person, again the person will be talking to you only in the positive manner, not in the negative. This is the lesson I learned through this UHV, and I thought of implementing the same to the students at the very beginning stage when they are entering into the college. So, and as well as when they are seeing the places, they may visit so many places. In that places, you may see so many things. When you are seeing the things, which one is going to be creative and which one is which is going to be approachable and which one is very easy to enter, in such a way you look the places. If you start looking where there is a loophole, there is a problem, there is no other way, like that if you are thinking, you can't find anything when you are moving. So in such a way you have to approach your process also in the positive. So this positive approach, I have given the guidance to the students, that makes a slow impact on their part also. They are start looking into it and they are trying to move on. Yes, this may be good, this may be correct, like that only they are entering. The same thing I started implementing in my family also, and also to my colleagues. Slowly I started inculcating the same to my colleagues. So the colleagues are feeling very happy. Ma'am, if we are with you, we are feeling that we are actually very safe, secure, because you are giving the impact in such a way. So this is the only thing I have approached. I started looking the positive on others. This is what I'm going to tell here also. People start look at the positive, don't look at the negative, because all people are having positive. So try to trigger the positive. Even the negative people approach you positive. Thank you, sir.
Nice. So according to you, staying positive is the key. Very nice. Now let me come to Dr. Rajesh. Dr. Rajesh, how do you see the possibility of extending value-based education to primary and secondary education? And what would be the steps to be taken if you are going to implement in primary or secondary education to make the course effective? Dr. Rajesh, you are muted.
Yeah, so irrespective of the level of education we are delivering, whether it is higher education or at the school level, the challenge that we see is in terms of the structure that we get from the regulatory authorities, whether it is a CBSE or state board or the UGC. So we cannot do much in that because there are a lot of restrictions. But there is a possibility of doing something good in the pedagogy, because that is what we can experiment with. If we can inculcate the case studies and the discussions and the examples where we highlight systematically the values and the importance of values and the benefits that a student can derive out of values. So repeated hammering is required, and that is possible once we inculcate as a part of pedagogy. Right. So in my own experience, I was earlier trying to highlight that, yes, pedagogy and evaluation is something at the internal level, because every school, every teacher must be having some marks or evaluation as an independent authority, and definitely pedagogy at the school level. So pedagogy has to, tailor be slightly adjusted to highlight the values, like Dr. Mahesh has also pointed out, and also the kind of evaluation. Evaluation is mostly now done based upon memory or analytical skills. Can we have something, some values, some percentage assigned to values? At the college level, I have tried it as an experiment to give some kind of internal marks for values. And I saw a positive change in the students because it was being evaluated not only based on the memory and analytical skills or presentation skills, but they are also being evaluated on the values. And they started taking it seriously. Their values also can have some kind of a positive impact on the evaluation. So in my opinion, pedagogy and evaluation at the school level, and that too at the systematically being done by the school managements, can definitely have some kind of positive impact.
Nice, very nice. In fact, I do remember that even today in the evaluation, there is some marks given to teachers' assessment, where they look into the conduct of the students, the way they attend the classes, behave in the classes, attend, submit assignments, respond to the questions. So that marks, those kinds of marks are there. And also, earlier there used to be general proficiency in some of the institutions where the marks were allotted for discipline and other things. But due to some maybe biasness or something, later they were removed. But yes, the scope is there. Of course, the scope is there. Very nice, Professor Rajesh. Now let me come to Dr. Nem Kumar Jain. So how do you see, like if you try to implement this in primary or secondary education, what would be the effective steps to be taken? Professor Jain.
Regarding the primary and the secondary education, whatever the courses you have filled up, initial courses programs, they will suffice in this. Regarding the higher education and the making the courses for elective subject as an elective subject where the weightage is given to the degree, I would be available to help you. And I give you an example. In Lucknow University in Rajasthan, they directly started with the MA syllabus, MA in Science of Religion. So we can, in advance, we can frame up the courses for master degree, because many people who have master degree in one subject can go to directly for the MA degree. So it would be quite timely to frame up courses for the master degree in human value, which is equivalent to Indian values, which is equivalent to Bharati values. So I lay emphasis on Bharati values.
Okay. So yes, we have a rich Indian knowledge system, and when we look into it, we are able to see so many inputs coming from various persons. There are so many stalwarts who have contributed to value-based education, and we can take inputs from there. The core of every input ultimately has been to see the truth, to live with a life of compassion and love. So of course, we can have several takeaways from there.
Fine.
Now let me come to Dr. Shubha Banerjee. So if you try to implement it in school education, so what would be the steps to be taken to make it effective, Dr. Shubha? You are muted. Dr. Shubha, I'm not able to hear you.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to switch on. So I think it will be better if we change their vocabulary to value-based one for the primary education, And it should be local, but it should be value-based relationship. And then we can do something on development of observation of child, like how he or she behaves in family, and how that he observes or she observes the family and other people working, and the production cycle, from where the food is coming, from where the other things. Am I audible? My
Yeah, you are
system.
clearly audible. Dr. Shiva, you are
Yes,
clearly
yes.
audible.
Yes. Actually embrace the natural system from which they are getting food and other things. And then also something on like how they are connected to the society. Like our primary education is very fiction based, I can say. There are too many stories on animals and other things. So if we can bring it realistic story, which is still interesting, children like storytelling things. So putting all these things and then making teachers ready for all these things. Like making a syllabus is one thing, but generating resource person with lot of patience. On evaluation, I feel we should go very easy on evaluation in first few years, and then also evaluation is more on how that person is turning into the secondary education or secondary thing, and how the person is taking choices. So taking small measures and putting the attention on how they are taking the responsibility, some assigning some values on that how they're keeping their bag, how they're interacting, how they're sharing their things with others in need, and then how they are able to navigate when they don't want to do anything. So developing those skills, I think that's more important. So that what I would say, that if the steps are vocabulary, that is more common, more naturally coming to them, but it should be relationship based. Second is development of observation of the relationship as well as the production cycle. So they develop respect for the nature and the people who are working in it, and make them little work, small work, so that they can have this habit of working and not running away from labor. That's it, sir.
Very nice. Good
Thank you.
input, Sabi. So we can see that we have to work on the curriculum, and the teacher development is at the core. So the
Yes,
teachers have to
yes,
be oriented, and the conduct has to get exhibited in their lifestyle. So
yes.
that is very important. And then assigning such work to the students so that they are able to work physically, they are able to ensure relationship with their peer group and things like that.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, very nice. Now let me come to Professor Binoy. So can you suggest how the transition from value education to value-based education to value-based living can be ensured through education? Can our educational institutions be the models of value-based living? Professor Binoy.
Yeah, sir, I think that the solution is already there.
Someone is unmuted. I request to kindly mute.
We need to explore the solution. Like in Indian system, we have Paravidya and Aparavidya. So Para is spiritual knowledge, Apara is material knowledge. So there need to be a balance, as the previous speaker mentioned, that the interrelationship and the kind of complexity that present situation or lifestyle is giving to sustain. Because this year we know that we have mentioned in the motto that the sustainable development. So sustainable development goal 4 is about ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So for everybody to be included, that is the Indian thought as well. And there, I think the case studies, as rightly mentioned, I think that the real case studies like great people, how they have lived their life peacefully and enlightened other people, also help people others to lead a beautiful life. So those case studies in short story, like it should be included in our curriculum, and we can learn from Ramakrishna Mission, Ramakrishna Sarada Mission, Vivekananda Yuva Mahamandal, and many other such organizations who are already doing that for 100 years, 50 years. They have tested, tried modules at different levels of education, for very child to maturity growing level. So if there is a national body, rightly mentioned CBSE and NCERT, everybody should take part together come to, it may take little time, but the fruit should be there. And I also think that it is not like that it should be only in course, it should be in every works like projects on value education. So it can be, some projects can be given and the marks should be directly how you practice, take part in social activities, and thus you reflect and develop your personality. So this type of things in short form and at all levels should be included.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Binoy. Next, I come to Dr. Ela. So Dr. Ela has been active for value education for quite some time. So like there is one preliminary step to go for value education by introducing some courses. Next comes making the whole education value-based and then making the living also value-based. So how do you see the possibility of this kind of transition in the institutions today in the current scenario when we can see the world changing very fast? How do we see the possibility of having this kind of transition in the education system today?
Yeah, so this transition is important. We cannot introduce everything at once because introducing the student induction programs where the student gets familiar to the environment where he is going to be initially, those induction programs will help reduce the stress amongst the students, help them to explore for themselves. And many of them are hostelites, will help them also to take decisions rightly. So one is the student induction program. Second is the faculty development program, because we need to train teachers, whether we are going to take this subject at the primary or at the secondary or at higher education. We need faculty preparation also. So the teacher training is important. Most of the teachers are involved with research, they're involved with extension work, community work. So if these faculty also are, going through the process of universal value education process, and same can be taken to the students as a subject. Like we have the AICT UHV 2 is very well framed. So having that in one semester really helps. So the student starts exploring, starts understanding the meaning of life, tries to understand their role in this entire existence, their role, their purpose as a human being. So it can begin in a small way. But then, of course, for every field, whether it is law, whether it is medical, whether it is engineering, whether it's economics, commerce, arts, whichever the field, every field has to do it. The base has to be value education. So this can be integrated later on in their subjects, very different subjects. So that is why we move from value education to value-based education. And in the same way, simultaneously at the final semesters or gradually, we can also give opportunities for students for value-based living, where we give them opportunities to interact amongst each other, along with the faculty, even their own family they're already interacting with. Those discussions can be brought in. So wherein how we are all living, that also can be understood, that can be, we can develop the process of self-evaluation. And thereby we can develop the scope of, self-exploration. So value-based living will come at the last, because till it doesn't come in our thinking, till we have not, the truth is not known to us, it will not come in our behavior. So we cannot start with an action. We have to begin with the knowing, and then that will automatically come in our conduct. But even when it comes in the conduct, that can be discussed, that can be facilitated with the students. So I think it's a very nice step for transformation of education, because value education, it has to begin with value education, moving to value-based education, and then value-based living. And as some of the co-panelists also mentioned, that earlier times also we had this kind of a value-based living, but wherein the value education transformed into value-based living. So I think that it is a gradual process, and this will definitely show more results, because as a student, understanding the sense of responsibility for themselves, for their family, for the society, and for nature, it will come gradually.
Nice, Dr. Ela. So it's a gradual process. It does take time, but yes,
Yeah.
the goal has to be set right. The process has to be adopted. Yes, very nice. There are some interesting questions in the panels here. So there is one question. We are unable to do the same. It has come from Lakshmikant Vasishtji. We are unable to do the same due to our management. How will we try the same? We adopted in our self and family, but I'm unable to implement with my students, which is very much needed. So now, Dr. Vilas, would you like to take up this question? Somebody is saying that I'm not able to implement in my college, do I'm able to implement in my family and at a personal level. So what will be your take on this?
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. What I can see is certainly by your behavior, your surroundings will be inspired. So once you have already, as you are saying, that you are implemented it yourself and your family level, and the persons whom you are interacting with, whom you are say transacting as well, certainly they find a change in yourself, in your behavior, your pattern of living. And certainly if they found your colleagues will certainly find out, your management will certainly find it out, the changes in your behavior. Then I think and by implementing some certain small courses, a 1-day course or the 3-day course for your faculty and management, and they found that a team has been brought up at your institute, certainly it will add on, and the management will be fully convinced that this course is an important course, and it will certainly benefit the whole institute and society at large. So certainly I think it may work.
Nice, nice. And now that AICT has mandated, so if the college comes under AICT, then as per the mandate of AICT also, you can take that initiative and you can request the management to look into the curriculum, the model curriculum, and the same syllabus can be implemented. So there's so much of scope now. I think a sincere effort has to be
Also,
made.
just one more point to add to the question. This will also be available in different languages. So even that can be added to the management.
Yeah. Nice. I'll take some more questions from this box of question and answer. Now I'll limit the time for response to 1 minute because there's some limitation of time.
Yeah.
So the questions are open to anyone on the panel who'd like to take up. The next question is, and that has been asked by Dr. CG V. Nambiar, faculty at Navi Mumbai at DY Patil. So what is the metric used to assess the effectiveness of UHV program in any institution? For any other program, effectiveness can be gauged by some assessment. So can somebody throw some light on this? How to measure the effectiveness of any program on human values? You can just raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and speak.
So I think the impact can be looked at in the exposure to value education and the post exposure to the value education. So the student, if you are evaluating a student, the student themselves can also give their reflections on it. And of course, the faculty can also evaluate it. So this is a conduct which is observable. And there can be a lot of discussions on it, which will help to evaluate.
Yes, and presently IRMA also evaluated the effectiveness of the course. So there are so many bodies also who can gauge the effectiveness of any such course, human values.
Yes,
and
that's
now
a good
there are
point.
so many research methods developed already because we do evaluate the courses in humanities also, and there are measures. The research methodology is already
there
in
are
place.
Qualitative ways and quantitative ways. Both can be used.
Yeah. I think Dr. Sujata had also raised hand. Yeah. Wanted to say something? You are muted probably.
Sorry. Actually, I want to add one thing in this. If we are going to take the student as a student, the things will not change. The point is, what the student is doing, we supposed to observe and we supposed to educate the student in such a way that with care. Because the student may be he or she, son or daughter, whoever it may be. But if we are trying to educate them with the proper care, they will understand what is the point we are trying to inculcate. And they'll observe and they'll do the things. For example, if a faculty is having a grudge on the student and they will reduce the mark on the student, if the student is understanding this and if the student is finding this and the student will say that the faculty is biased, that the student will not like, and they will spread this message to one and all there. One thing is, we supposed to observe what is the problem with the student, and we have to educate them separately. The student have to be in the class, and how the student has to behave in the class. The attitude changes must here, both to the faculty as well as to the student. So both of them have to be get convinced. There should not be playing of any ego in between them. So this actually the teacher has to take it into account, and they supposed to teach this to the student. There will not be any reduction of the marks in their papers. The student is either a son or daughter. We have to think in such a way, and we have to educate the student also in such a manner. So this has to be taken into part of each and every one in this world. Everyone are actually born into this world to see something, to show something, to get something, and they are going to live with that. And if we are actually showing our ego, and if we are trying to punish them, means we are not going to get anything. In such a way, the people have to think, and they have to care about each and every one in this world. So this caring is going to give a very big resolution in this world. So I wish everyone to take care of everyone. Thank you.
Nice. So the feeling of care is very important according to you. Yeah. Professor Jan?
Yes, whatever you are doing and your associates are doing, that is very fine, but it has to be taken further. And for further, there are various social organizations, live organizations, which are doing a lot of work. So better to organize symposiums and seminars and courses for them with the idea given to them. Then you have to run better, get trained, and you have to get repeat these courses at your own place. That will,
so that would be
new
something
reform will be there in the public.
Yeah, so that would be something as an extension activity where if you try to take this forward to the society, so you can involve the NGOs, the corporates, even the corporates have CSR, corporate social responsibility wing, and through CSR also it can be extended to the rest of the society.
So
those
with
points are
this,
also
your experiment will go 100 times.
very nice, sir. Very nice. In the meantime, one question was asked: can the transition from value education to value-based education to value-based living be ensured in the technical institutions? And people are saying that yes, there will be lots of challenges from society, but still, it can be done. Nice. Nice. In the meantime, I'll request all the delegates to raise hands. You have raised your questions here also because the hands that were raised earlier, I have lowered them for time being. If you want to ask something, you can either write in the question answer box or you can raise your hand. Yeah, Professor Binoy has to say something. Professor Binoy.
I just wanted to mention in response to previous question that AICT has laid a very nice norms to how to assess a course, that course outcome and program outcome, that value-based education system, whereby that we have the taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy, which is very similar to Bhartrihari, that Shravan, Manan, and Nididhasan, that giving 3 levels of under pure memorizing, and then understanding, and then analysis power. So 3 levels of power education for each topic we want to discuss amongst us with the students. So, and that can be assessed. There is a very nice way of doing the assessment, and that is called course outcome and program outcome, which can be found in the internet, or I can also, if personally, I can help, I can share the experience. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so there are certain pedagogical skills, and we can look into the course outcome evaluation, program outcome evaluation, isn't it? And it's certainly being done through NAC and NB also. And we can again chalk out certain ways and means of making these means even more effective, isn't it? Yeah. Dr. Jan, I'll come to you later. In the meantime, I can see some hands raised here. Dr. Senthil has been raising hand for quite some time. Dr. Senthil, you can unmute yourself and speak up. You have some question?
Yes, delegates. Very good morning to everyone.
Yeah.
I'm from Tech University, Chennai, and the head of the Department of Physics. And for our whole university, we, the department, offering the UHV course. And the practical difficulty what we are facing now is, till this semester, there is no problem. But in the next semester, our university is planning to implement the National Education Policy 2020. So in that, the credit split up has been given priorly for us to frame the courses. So for each semester, we can frame the credit up to a maximum of 22 credits. In that, the courses have been split up with various categories like skill enhancement category, ability enhancement course like humanities and language, basic sciences like that. And the last category is called the value added course category. So our institute is insisting us to implement the UHV under value added course category with a credit split up of 2. But AICT is insisting us strongly to offer the course with 3 credits only. But our institute is insisting us to offer under value added course alone, which is having only 2 credits. And regarding this, we have still a lot of confusion how we can take this course through NEP implementation. And we need suggestion from all of your panel members regarding this.
Yeah, Dr. Senthil, let me say 2 things here. First of all, it is some technical issue and we'll have to look into the document that you are sharing about NEP 2020. So does it have to come essentially under value-added course, or it can be as a part of regular curriculum? This is one thing. Because for value-added courses, again, how you are going to evaluate, or certain things will have to be taken care of. And the second thing would be like giving some more suggestions about including in such manner. So maybe I can open the question to the panelists. We have very limited time. I can take just 1 or 2 response within half a minute. So
I would like
from
if
yeah.
because I also face the same problem in agriculture university, and still what we are doing is putting it in communication skill, because when it comes to value added things, it is a different perspective altogether. So it's not human value addition, it's value addition on material.
Exactly. So
yes.
value-added course and human value course are 2 different things.
Two different things, right?
Adding
Yes.
some more inputs on any other course. It is not
Yes,
value-added.
it's not value added. So we have to put it right now through communication skills, but there should be a policy discussion on this, that how to include professional ethics at least. In that way, we can give a due credit to this course. So that is how we have solved it.
So in fact, the word value is common, but the 2 concepts are different. So we have to be very clear about that.
Yes.
Now I'll have to sum up. Now I cannot take any more questions and any more responses, but I could see a spectrum of answers coming from a very rich panel where we had a variety of opinions regarding different aspects, and we could all agree to certain common things, like if the value education has to be effective, it has to be there in the conduct of the teachers and the management. They have to implement in their life. They have to be the role models, and not only the teachers and management, even the parents. And we can learn a lot from our tradition also, as it came out through various sharing. And so we can see clearly that the development of management faculty is very important to make the course effective. We could also listen to some of the hurdles or difficulties. And as Dr. Sujata has been reiterating, that be positive and you have to really take care of the problems as they come with a feeling of relationship. And Dr. Ila shared some of her experiences in implementation. All the panelists came up with very sound and valuable opinions. There is also a huge possibility of extending value-based education to our schools in primary and secondary level, right? And there again, that development of teachers, the counseling of parents would play a very significant role. Even the bodies which are making policies, for example, the National Curriculum Framework is now making policies for school education. So if members of NCF also go through the workshop and they get oriented, they may be in a better position to develop the curriculum and implement the courses. And we can add various activities, various projects in the courses, so that the students get a ground feeling of how it can actually come to their life. And then we can have various models, various ways of conveying the content there. The pedagogy has to be taken care of. And also the transition can take place from value education to value-based education to value-based living. But yes, it does take time. It's a gradual process. We can all observe for ourselves. If I have to transform myself, it is something that is going to take time for each one of us to transform. And let me say that when we are here in this panel and we are sharing our views, and the message getting spread across various countries of the world, so we ourselves have to first look into our conduct, our understanding, our feeling. Are we really the role models of society? Okay. Are we able to see the happiness and prosperity inside us? Isn't it? Are we able to live with a feeling of relationship? So each human being, when it comes to implementing value education, comes to the focal point, isn't it? We have to start from ourselves. And it has always been said that be the change you want to see in the world. So each one of us has to be that particular change, and then only we can make such programs effective. We can also see that this is not only a course of transforming some set of information, right, or some bookish knowledge. It is something to be internalized within one's own imagination, in one's own life, in one's own conduct. And our living is the validation. So are we able to live a fulfilling life with our parents, with our teachers, with our peers, right? Are we into the mad race of accumulation and consumption, or are we able to see the human goal and we are able to invest ourselves for fulfillment of human goal? So very nice. A good thing to see that people in various institutions have been thinking seriously about implementing value-based courses, and there's a huge possibility ahead. We can see we had participation, we had registration from more than 36 countries from the world.
Dr. Kumar,
yeah,
you can add the point of the sharings of the institutions who are already implementing.
Yeah, I think our panelists might also be listening to the sharing by various institutions. If not, then please have a look at that, and we are going to share on YouTube also, so you can get to see how changes have been taking place in various institutions. So yeah, with the limitation of time, we'll have to now limit our discussion here. So I thank once again all the panelists for sparing your time for this valuable discussion. It has been very fruitful. I think it's going to show some light to the society also. Now, let me request our anchor, Ms. Nidhi, to kindly share her message for the next activity to take place in this conference. Ms. Nidhi. So we'll have, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar, for sharing the key insights of this whole panel discussion. Now, I would request all our panelists and delegates to take a break of half an hour, and then we are heading for a sharing session where institutions and individuals will be sharing how they have been effectively implementing it in their own lives as well as at the institute level. So namaste and thank you very much all. See you at 12:30.
Yeah. Just
Thanks
I
a
would
lot.
request all the panelists just to be there on the video so we can take some pictures.
Pictures?
Yeah. So I think
मैंने तो ले ली.
And we can have a nice smile here. Thank you all once again. Namaste.
Thank you.
Can you please,
Thank you. Namaste.
Can you please share the photo?
Pardon?
Can you share the photo you have taken?
Yeah,
yes. How do I share? I am not sure. Maybe the shadow volunteer can share with you.